Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome to my Tiny Talks podcast, the show where we'll dive into self-love, inner child healing, and discovering your soul's purpose. I look forward to chatting with you every single week and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's Tiny Talk. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to week 28 of Tiny Talks. I love coming on here and chatting with you guys. It is something that I always look forward to. I can't wait to hop on the mic. I actually just got a new microphone, so in the next coming episodes, you guys should notice a little bit of difference in the audio quality. I'm just waiting for one more part to come in to get that all set up and going, but I'm definitely looking forward to having a little bit more clear audio so you guys can hear me a little bit better. But nonetheless, I am super excited to dive into today's topic. My day is going absolutely fantastic. I decided to spend my day just rejuvenating and pouring into myself. So I started off my morning just being slow, being grounded, being present. I took my dog Bailey down to the park to play, which was super fun. I then headed into yoga and had a wonderful ceremony there, an hour practice, and the whole session was just guided towards flow and breath, which most yoga practices are, but that was the theme of today's class, which was definitely something that I was needing. I then took myself thrift shopping, which anybody who knows me knows that it is one of my absolute favorite things in the world to do, and I picked up a couple cute boho style dresses that I'm super excited to wear this summer. And now here we are. I have set aside this time to chat with you all, and as I was on my drive home thinking about this topic, I realized that it really fits into the time of the year that it is. So with it being spring, we often think of spring cleaning and freshness and starting over and outing with the old and bringing in the new and just kind of starting on a fresh slate. And so for today's topic, I'm going to be diving into if your space is potentially stressing you out. And what I mean by that is your physical space that you live in. And this could be in so many different circumstances. That could be your house. That could be if you report to an office, if you own a business, whatever it is, wherever you're spending your time. I want you to ask yourself if that space, that physical space, is stressing you out. And that is what we are going to dive into today. And so I know for me personally, I like my space to be very clean. I don't like when things are out of place. I don't like having a lot of clutter because I find when I have a lot of clutter and I have a lot of things, I begin to feel very frustrated and overwhelmed. And honestly, I've been like this for as long as I can remember. I remember even being in middle school and elementary school and just wanting to keep my room as tidy as possible. And I've always spent a lot of time in my bedroom. It's something that I personally really enjoy. And I think from that stemmed my love for interior design and home decor and all those things. But I think even if you're not really into home decor or interior design, it's still super important to make sure that your physical space is bringing you joy. It's making you feel happy. It's inviting. When people come over, how do they feel when they enter your space? And these are often questions that we don't really think about or we don't really take into consideration unless you're someone like me who's obsessed with your physical space. But we spend so much time in our houses, in our bedrooms, in our living room, wherever it is for you. We spend so much time in those places, and it's so important. It's crucial, actually, that they make us happy. We need to walk into a room and feel some type of way. And oftentimes that comes from, is the room tidy? Is the room bright? Do we have things in there that we enjoy? Is everything in there stressing you out, right? We feel a certain emotion whenever we walk into a room. And so one thing that I encourage you to do is just think for yourself right now, where are you at with this? How do you feel when you think about your home? If you're home right now, or if you're out and about, if you're driving, I want you to just bring your mind into what your physical space looks like. Do you think maybe it's time to part with some things? Is it time to maybe let go of some stuff? Are you holding on to things just for that reason of maybe one day I'll need it, right? We all do that. But is it depleting you? Does it already make you happy? Maybe your space is already making you happy, but maybe you could still find room to get rid of a couple things. We all are such creatures of materialistic things and holding on to things and hoarding things, but that stresses our body out. That's overwhelming. Even think about our thoughts. If we just held on to every single thought and overwhelm that we had, we would feel just that. We would feel overwhelmed. We would want to burst. It would be too much. And it's the same thing as our mind space as with our physical space. Because the thing is that the environment that we spend our time in affects us more than we think that it does. And the nature of your space can greatly, hugely, again, affect your mood and how you physically feel. And so much so that when I was kind of looking up some points for today's episode and going on Google and watching different YouTube videos, I realized that this is a bigger theme than I realized when I thought about this episode. And this episode stemmed for me is because in the last 2 weeks, I've really been going deep, making piles of things that I want to get rid of because big garbage pickup is coming soon. And if you don't know what that means, basically it's when garbage trucks go around and you can put absolutely anything at the end of your driveway and they will pick it up. And so I'm starting to create piles for that day so that when that day comes, I can just get rid of all these things. And I will just note that anything that is still functioning or another person could use, I always donate that to local thrift stores or to families or things like that. But I'm talking just junk that nobody would want goes at the end of the driveway. And I will just say people often drive around and pick through these things and gather things. I am also a person. I drive around. I go through people's garbage. It is super fun to just flip things and repurpose. But that is a story for another day. And so it's super important, again, that we feel good in our space. And so one way that I want you to kind of begin this is start with just doing a quick walk through your space, because I know when we often hear these things, we get instantly overwhelmed of how much work we're going to have to do. And I just want you to hold on to that concept of it has to get messier before it's going to get clean. And I think that that's so true. Anytime that we declutter, it just gets so messy. Things are everywhere. There's junk everywhere. And we're like, whoa, this is worse off than when I started. But it has to get messy before it can get clean. So I want you to walk around your space and notice how you feel. Is it time for a change? Is it time for a declutter? Is there one room in particular that you're thinking might need more work than another room? Is it something that you've just been putting off to wait for that rainy day? One thing that I find helpful, especially if this is something that you struggle to do or you don't really just naturally have the ambition to do it, is to set a date. Maybe you say in 3 Saturdays' time, I'm going to use this day and I'm going to go through my home and I'm going to declutter. I find when we schedule things in and we actually have them concrete and we make those promises to ourselves, it makes it easier for us to upstand that promise and to actually do the things. So before I go any further, I just want you to do some reflecting again, because I think when we hear all these things, we're like, man, my space is fine, it's functioning, I know where everything is, it's all good. But I want you to think about your overall mood, how your body might feel, right? I want you to imagine you're walking into a room and it's kind of dark. Maybe the blinds are closed. It's kind of cold. Maybe there's some smells that you can't really recognize. It's super cluttered. You're walking over things. You're tripping. Everything's everywhere. How do you feel? How would that make you feel to think about that? To walk into a room, or if you've ever walked into a store and there's just clothes all over the place and stuff is just everywhere. You just want to turn around and leave because it's so dysfunctional and overwhelming. It's the same with our thoughts. Again, our mind likes when things go A, B, C, D, E. It oftentimes doesn't go that way. It often goes E, C, B, D, A. It's super backwards. But the more that we can organize our space, the more our mind is able to be organized, meaning less pressure, less stress on ourselves. Because if we know where something is, we're able to find it gracefully. It just calms our system. Because I want you to now picture walking into that same room. The blinds are open, the sun is shining in, it's a little bit warm, smells nice, it smells fresh, it smells clean. Everything is tidy and organized and where it's supposed to be. Everything is exactly prime and proper. Everything is dusted, the floor is clean. How would that make you feel? You probably feel like you can take a deeper breath. You're less overwhelmed, you're less angry. Right? We don't realize sometimes how much our mood affects us, how much our space affects our mood. But it largely does. And it can affect our mood really in 4 different ways. The first way is it really can affect our behavior if our room is messy. And what I mean by this is, you ever have that chair or that room or that space where you just throw everything in and you've kind of given yourself permission to just throw everything there? What I mean by behavior is that if we keep doing that, we have that pile, we have that chair, we just throw clothes on. Oh, we just took this off. Okay, we're going to throw it there too because it's already messy. And then we just keep going and we keep going. So when we have those places or we have that clutter, it almost gives us that permission that that's just the clutter pile. Let's just keep adding to it. And so it just keeps growing and growing and growing until it becomes too overwhelming. And so it really does set the tone, right? Think of the dishes. If you just do the dishes one at a time as you use them, you're not going to have that buildup. But if you let it pile up, you're just going to keep throwing dishes on that pile. It really affects our behavior and our expectation of our standards of our home. And leading into that, it can also affect our interaction with people coming over and into our space. I'm someone who loves having people over. I love to entertain. I love to host. And when I do, I want my space to be clean and homey, and I want people to feel at peace and at rest when they come in. I want them to feel calm. But on the flip side of that, it also sets a standard, because if you're walking into a home and you can see that there's already mud all over the floor and things are everywhere, you might leave your shoes on, you might just throw your stuff everywhere, because the room kind of sets the tone. But if you walk in and everything is clean and proper, you're going to want to take your shoes off. Oh, where should I hang my jacket? Right? You're going with the theme of the space that you're in. And that's the same as when you go to other people's house and you walk in and it's nice and clean. You want to respect their nice, clean home. And again, think of if you walked into somebody else's house and it was super dark and smelly and cluttered, you'd maybe feel a little overwhelmed. Maybe feel like you need to run, right? The next thing is it can really level our stress levels, which is kind of what I've been talking about throughout this whole podcast, but it really can, because clutter equals stress. Again, like I've talked about with our mind. And even, we think about that. Think about like your classic junk drawer that you open and it's just junk. I think everybody has a junk drawer. I have one. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty organized, but it is just a drawer that everything goes to that doesn't really have a place. When you open a junk drawer, it's just chaotic. It's stressful. You can't find anything. It's overwhelming. And I find that especially with my clothes, I find if my closet isn't clean and I'm trying to get dressed or get ready, I just spiral. Because if I can't find something, or if there's just clothes everywhere, I'm looking for something specific and I can't find it because it's lost in the mess, I notice myself start to get angry and irritated, right? But if I just pull open my drawer, I knew exactly that white or black or flowered, whatever shirt it was I was looking for is right there. I can grab it, I can put it on, I can go to the next thing. Cleaning your space also sets you up for success because you know where everything is. I cannot imagine running a business with everything scattered everywhere. I can't imagine somebody placing an order and I don't know where anything is that they bought, right? We have to know where things are. And if we even think about our fridge, food in our fridge, if our fridge isn't organized, first of all, we're not going to eat everything because it's going to get hidden in the back. Things are going to expire. It's going to get smelly. It might be overwhelming trying to cook meals because you don't really know what you have. And I think we often live like this very much so with our fridge, with our cupboards, with food, with clothes, with everything. We just have so much of it that we don't know what to do with it and it's overwhelming. So we just shove it away and close the doors. But let this be your sign that your space might be stressing you out more than you think it is. And one thing that could be fun is maybe you and a good friend or you and your parents, whatever it is, one weekend you go to their house, help them do it. One weekend maybe they come to your space and help you do it. It can be fun. It can be an adventure, right? Getting rid of things and having memories come up as you go through them. That can also be really fun. And you're setting a new standard for yourself of, okay, when this happens, I know next time to put that thing away. This is again true for me with my closet. I had to go through clothes on clothes a couple weeks ago, folding and getting rid of stuff. And I told myself, never again am I letting it get out of control like this because it was just too much. It was so overwhelming. And so now whenever my clothes come out of the dryer, I fold them right away and I put them away because I know that if I don't do that small thing, I'll throw those clothes on the floor, I'll do another load of laundry, I'll throw them on the floor, and so it begins again. So catch yourself at your weak points. For me, laundry is my weak point. That is something that I just so largely despise doing that I put it aside. And so I know that when I do my laundry and I put it away and I feel good, I remember and I hold on to that feeling. Which leads into my last point of how our rooms can affect us, and that is our mood. Our space is a reflection of us, and it's a good indicator of how we feel. I know sometimes we have those weeks where we just feel like we don't have time and everything's impossible, but if we've already gotten into those routines of doing things, it just kind of flows into our day, right? It's the same with anything in our life. If we start to do something and we start to do it consistently, that just becomes our new normal. Maybe your normal is already tidy, maybe it's not. Starting with where you are and going from there. So now I'm going to dive into some more home decor, interior design kind of tips of some things to consider when setting up your space, setting up your living room, setting up your bedroom, your space. The first thing is smell. How does it smell when you walk in your house? Does it smell like dog? Does it smell like cat? Does it smell dusty? What does it smell like? Your home, every single person's home has a distinct smell. What do you want your home to smell like? And again, I will never use candles again. I will never incorporate candles into my life again because I know how toxic they are, how bad they are, and just overall how big of a waste of money they are. I personally choose to diffuse essential oils. That is the route that I will never change because I can make my home smell like whatever I want it to. I can make it smell like lemon. I can make it smell like a forest. I can make it smell florally. Whatever I want. So some things to consider is the smell. How do you want people to react when they walk in your home? Because our sense of smell is so largely connected to our mood. If we're diffusing something that is uplifting, like lemon or lemongrass or orange, our mind is going to lift. Our energy is going to lift. Smell plays such a huge role in how we feel in a space. Think of that time you're ever in public and maybe someone didn't smell so good and that's all you can think about. Smell is such a huge indicator of so many things in your mood. The second thing I encourage you to potentially implement is some plants. And maybe that's just one or two plants, but plants have actually been proven to raise our endorphin levels. Plants give us a sense of purpose as well, to take care of them, to water them. I always pick Sundays as my sun day for my plants, where I put them all together, I let them be together, I give them water, I give them sun, whatever that particular plant is needing. And I find that when I walk around my space and I see my plants, it always encourages me to check in with myself as well. Am I hydrated? Do I need something to eat? Do I need some sunshine? So incorporating plants is a huge, huge tip that I find very, very helpful at brightening up and livening up a space. The third one is colors. Colors are huge in your mood with your space. Can you imagine if you walked into a house and there was no color and everything was just black? Think of how that would feel. And again, everybody has their own personal taste of what they like. But notice what colors make you happy. For me, it's whites with accents around it, neutrals. I'm a very neutral person. Maybe you love bright colors. Maybe you love bright patterns. Do whatever makes you feel the best in your space and makes you feel happy. But if you're someone who hates neon colors and all your walls are bright neon, that could be overwhelming. Maybe putting some paint on it would help you. So focusing on colors. The next one is natural lighting. I cannot stress this enough. Natural lighting is not only good for us, but it also just helps the space to feel welcoming and open, right? Bright. You can see things. Natural lighting is so, so important to make a space feel happy and inviting and open. Is your space comfortable? Is it cozy? Do you feel comfort? Maybe you have some throw blankets on the couch, right? Maybe you have some pillows. Whatever it is it comfy and cozy? And the last one is, do you have things in your space that make you happy? Things that you love, good memories. Pictures is a great example of this. Having pictures up of good memories, good people. Art. Maybe you're someone who really likes and appreciates art. Whatever it is, I like to decorate with my hats all around my space. I like to make little macrame things and hang them up. Whatever it is for you, things that you love so that when you look at them, you feel joy. If you're looking around your space and there's just this random picture on the wall that you have no connection with or desire to look at, get rid of it. It's not serving you. And that is the next section that I'm going to jump into to finish off today's podcast, is really how to begin in your space. Because all those things are great, but if you're just starting with all this stuff and not a blank canvas, it can feel a little bit overwhelmed. And so my first tip, which I kind of said at the beginning, but it's to walk around your space and to quickly identify things that you don't want or need. Label them right off the get-go. Maybe if you don't have time to grab them right away, put sticky notes on them so you know everything that has a sticky note on it you don't want and you want to get rid of. Maybe everything with a pink sticky note is things you want to donate. Things with a blue sticky note is stuff that needs to throw out. Maybe you have somebody in mind that you want to give it to, so you write their name on it. Maybe you do the box system where you have different boxes of donate and sell and fix up, right? Having these different categories can just help us to find organization and a technique to begin. Because again, even if you have those boxes out, maybe over the span of a week, as you're walking around and you find things you don't need, you throw them in the box. And then at the end of the month or the end of the week, you take those things to their designated places. And to begin this kind of process, I always follow the Marie Kondo process, which is when you're holding something, whether that's a piece, a little knickknack or clothes or shoes, whatever it is. Does it spark joy when you see this thing? And that's also a great question to ask yourself when you're out shopping and you just get all excited. Does it spark joy? Does it make you happy? Right? If it doesn't spark joy or you feel no connection to it anymore, get rid of it. It is not fulfilling you. It is not honoring you. We don't need to have things in our space just to have them. And of course, some things like office supplies and stuff like that, that's different. But actual clutter and things that are taking up space in your closet, on your bookshelf, whatever it is, if it doesn't spark joy or doesn't make you happy when you look at it, or you don't even really know why you have it, get rid of it and make room for something else, or potentially just have that blank slate open, right? It's okay to have gaps in our home. Having less is actually better. Living minimally is so much better for our mind because there's less distractions and things to look at. Having your own space in your space, whether you live with a family member or a partner or kids, whatever it is, if you still live with mom and dad, focus on one area that you have control of, one area that stresses you out the most, and have fun with it. That's the whole point and theme of this process, is to have fun. Making over your space and making your space yours and unique is all for fun, right? It's only going to optimize and raise your vibration, raise your positivity, raise your mood, lower your stress. And that's why I wanted to share this with you all today, because we often just push these things off because we feel like we don't have time. But if they're affecting us more than we think that they are, it could really be setting us up for failure. If we're waking up in the morning and we're just feeling super chaotic and overwhelmed, perhaps our space is a great place to start because it's something that we have control over. Even now, after recording this podcast, I am so excited. I have a couple things on my to-do list that I want to do to continue tidying up and improving my space. I actually just painted my fridge this weekend, which was super, super random. I hated the color of it, but the fridge worked great. So I decided to slap some paint on it, and it looks so good. And I'm so much happier now when I walk in my kitchen. It just feels complete. Something that literally cost me no money has just raised my energy and my vibe so much more and makes me want to be in that room so much more, which is super exciting. And the goal of all of this, to make you feel like you want to be in your space. It's welcoming, to make others feel like they want to be in your space. I truly hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast episode. Home decor and interior design and just changing your space to change your vibe is something that I am super, super passionate about, and something that I don't really chat about very often, but I'm recognizing that after connecting with a few of you this week, it's something that a large amount of you are really wanting more tips and tricks on. So I'll definitely be sharing more of that with you guys on here as well as on my Instagram. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, I am at JessieBrown13. I would love to connect. I would love to chat. I absolutely love talking about anything and everything with you folks and just making that connection. You guys are all absolutely amazing and just fill my heart each and every day. I want to thank you guys as always, for tuning into this week's episode of Tiny Talks. I hope your April is all going amazing. I hope you all had a great Easter weekend last weekend. I hope you guys are enjoying the spring, and I look forward to chatting with you all next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into this week's episode of Tiny Talks. If you're looking to connect, you can find me on Instagram at JessieBrown13. I look forward to chatting with you all next week. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.